Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Super Deluxe Gamescast. It is Thursday, January 20th. Look at this. I'm in the same room as Derek.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Derek.
Hi, John.
Hi, Derek. I missed you.
I miss you too, bud.
Jeff, we miss you.
So
both
because
of us.
because of the way the depth perception works, it looks like John is a very tiny man.
I'm very,
Derek.
which is funny because like I'm the opposite of a very tiny man.
It's like the Force perspective they use in Lord of the Rings with Ian McKellen and Elijah Wood. Like
John, how tall
little
are you
Hobbit
again?
John over there.
6'2".
John is 6'2", and I'm 5'8" most of the time. So
you know what? We should have compared heights because I'm always questioning if I'm 5'7" or 5'8".
yeah, well, I think I was like a hair taller than you, right?
That sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah. So like I'm 5'8"
All right.
most of the time. So
Real quick, before we get down to business here, I do want to tell Brittany, who is in the chat right now, that I see. Brittany, we hope you feel better soon. Of course, Brittany tested positive for COVID. She tweeted that out.
okay. I was like,
No, dude, she tweeted. Otherwise, I wouldn't have said anything.
Here's a comprehensive list of Brittany's medical conditions.
Yeah. No, she definitely tweeted that one out. And Britt, we hope we know you're going to be okay. But we hope you feel better soon, and we love you.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
we're thinking about you.
Yeah.
I thought you had
always.
seen that tweet.
No,
she
I haven't
tweeted
been
out her
on
test
Twitter.
results. Trust me, I would not say anything if she had.
COVID's ass.
Yeah.
She's gonna fucking destroy.
I
COVID.
believe it. Yeah. Fully.
She is a gamer after all.
Boss bitch over here. What's up? She got it.
Why did I say that? Okay, so guys, it's been a really slow week. Not much has happened this week.
Yeah, no news, no gaming news whatsoever.
Nothing.
Nothing happened.
So what are we doing here? Do we want to talk about what we've been playing first?
Okay. First, and
before
then
we
we'll
get
move
into the very
what-
uninteresting,
What little news we can scrape together
Yeah.
from this week?
not like anything important or landscape altering happened. Derek, why don't you kick us off, bud?
Oh, okay. So I've burned through a few games recently trying to find something to like keep my attention for a while. I'm still playing Super Robot Wars 30 like a bit at a time here and there. I actually picked Fire Emblem Awakening back up.
My man.
Yeah. Well, with the frequent news and rumors that we may be seeing a new Fire Emblem this year, I just wanted to go back to what I think is my favorite Fire Emblem of recent history. And I'm re-experiencing Awakening, and I'm having a great time with it.
What's funny about that is that, so I brought my analog pocket to kind of show you what it's all about. And one of the two games I brought was Fire Emblem Sacred Stones.
Yeah.
Which is one of the few Fire Emblem games that I hadn't played. And I'm playing it alongside Shining Force Resurrection of the Dark Dragon right now. And dude, Sacred Stones is so fucking good.
Yeah.
Fire Emblem games, the two Fire Emblem games on GBA period had some of the coolest sprite animation I've ever seen.
I got you to pick up Super Robot Tyson Original Generation, which is an all originals like Super Robot Wars game on the GBA, and I think it's my favorite. Those two are my favorite strategy RPGs on the GBA, and that says a lot. There's some very good strategy games on the GBA.
Yeah, there are. Tactics Ogre.
But yeah, I deeply love Awakening. I wanted to emulate it because I if you can, why not? And it turns out it doesn't emulate well, so I just dug out my old physical copy.
A lot of those games don't, though.
You know what's funny? Fates emulates perfectly.
Really?
On Citra, and Fates is bad. So
What system were these originally on? Is this 3DS games?
3DS.
Yeah.
Okay. 3DS games generally don't emulate well,
Kind
right?
of depends. It's getting better. Hey, Twiggy.
Hey, Twiggy.
But yeah, and like I've been playing Three Houses on and off, and I do really like Three Houses, but like it's been a bit on Awakening, and I wanted to go back, and I wanted something that was a little bit more locked in. I think Three Houses is almost too freeform, and I like my strategy RPGs to make me work for it a little more and make me like use characters to their strengths.
You're a thinking man's gamer.
Well, which is weird because one of my favorite Final Fantasies is 5 with the job system. So like, I don't know. But yes, I've been playing Fire Emblem Awakening mostly the last few days. So it's been good times.
I promise I have not been playing any Final Fantasy XIV whatsoever. The game that is almost available to purchase again, and once again I assume will be free to play up to level 60, including
5 days.
The Heavenward expansion.
They're not opening the trial back up yet, are they?
I don't think so.
I think they're opening up sales again on the 25th, and then depending on how that goes, they're like
Honestly,
they're
I don't
winging it.
think they need the trial at this point.
No,
they're
don't.
doing
No.
okay.
Yeah.
they
They
need
don't.
it.
No, I've been playing, of course, Final Fantasy XIV. I am through the first 2 Savage versions of the Pandemonium raids. Next week, I'm going to work on taking down the last 2 Savage raids and get all geared up for the next round of raids coming out. Yeah, it's, the endless MMO cycle. And I've also been playing a lot of Game Boy Advance or Game Boy Advance games on the Analog Pocket. I've been playing Shining Force, which is one of my favorite old.
What?
I mean, I do look small in the camera for sure. Like, I mean, absolutely. But Jesus, but I do look minuscule here. Like, dude, like my head is like it looks. Even my head, like. But yeah, no, I've been playing Final Fantasy 14. I've also been playing Shining Force on GBA, which was one of my favorite Sega Genesis games, and I've been playing Fire Emblem Sacred Stones on GBA. I'm a GB. I love Game Boy Advance games, dude.
There's a lot of gems on that system.
Derek saw the Analog Pocket screen for the first time in person tonight. It is like it's. The hype is like that. The hype was legit around this thing. It's one of the coolest pieces of tech I have ever seen.
How much did it cost? What's the price?
$199, but it's actually like $210 now due to the increase in price of parts.
Given the quality and like the huge library of games, that seems like, I don't know, pretty good.
It's fairly reasonable, to be perfectly honest with you, just because it doesn't only play Game Boy Advance games, it also plays Game Boy Color, and with an adapter, it plays Atari Lynx games, Game Gear games, and Neo Geo Pocket games. So yeah, no, it's absolutely worth it. Twiggy loves her Uncle John.
We definitely need a dual cam. We just need one dedicated to the doggo.
She'll be gone soon enough anyway. She won't stick around in here.
That's a good girl. She loves her Uncle John.
Jeff, what you been playing recently, man?
I guess fortunately for our listeners, I've been winding down a bit on 14. Still doing some weekly stuff, but I kind of had my fill. I played a fuckload of it the last month since Endwalker came out. And I bit the bullet and upgraded my PC on the weekend. Upgraded my processor. It's like everything else is pretty good. My GPU, I'm literally never going to be able to buy a GPU again in my life.
Yeah,
so
I know.
I've kind of written that one off. The only thing left was the CPU. I was running a Ryzen 2600. And I play a lot of Flight Sim, which is very single core CPU heavy. And I was like, I didn't want to justify it just for that, but it was mostly for Flight Sim. I was like, I'll get there is some other CPU heavy games and try to future proof it again. I need to ride this out another 3
What'd
years
you get?
probably. I got a Ryzen 5600X.
I mean,
is like-
that could last you a good long while.
Should. It's
That's
almost
a really fucking good 6-core processor.
For gaming, there's very little difference between that and Ryzen's top of the line, like the 5950.
You're honestly talking about only a couple percent if you jump to like the top Intel. Like,
and it's only 350 Canadian. Like, it's like I don't know what it must retail for under 300 US.
Ryzen processors are changing the game on PC gaming, dude.
So so I bought that, and of course, Flight Simulator, like night and day, just smoothed out all those drops and jankiness. But then I kind of was like, hankered for a new game, so I picked up Jurassic World Evolution 2.
I saw you streaming that.
Yeah, so like park builder game. Like I'm a dinosaur nerd, big fan of Jurassic Park. So the movies have their documented ups and downs, but in general, like the premise of creating my own Jurassic Park and doing things right that they never can seem to do. Pretty cool. So, and it's just in line with my, like, I don't want to shoot stuff really these days. Like, I'm still not, I mean, there's some violence in the game, but like, that's not what I'm about right now. I just want something a little bit more chill, and it's really been filling that, scratching that itch, I guess. It's not like a super deep, I think I'm not like big, I play a lot of like quote simulator games, but like, I'm not big into like strategy. I played SimCity, most of them, but like, I'm not in the weeds on it. I'm not playing a ton of Civilization. So like, I think for big fans of like park builders and stuff, it's probably considered shallow, maybe a little bit simple. But for me, that's like a good thing because it's really accessible. I don't need to like micromanage. I mean, there is micromanagement, but it's not like I'm not overwhelmed by the complexity of the systems and stuff. It's very much like, hey, do you like Jurassic Park? Do you like dinosaurs? You can like throw some raptors here and like build a cool little visitor center and stuff like that.
I played a little of the first Jurassic World Evolution, and it felt to me like it still felt pretty granular in a lot of ways. But I'm not like I don't play a lot of like simulation type games. I don't play Civ. I don't play Total War. I don't play anything like that. So, like me coming from the closest thing to that stuff that I play is like Roller Coaster Tycoon. You know, but it felt at home. But it felt complex but not overwhelming. Like I could get in, I could learn the systems. The tutorials worked for me. You know, I don't think it's 100% my type of game, but like I respected my time with it. Thank
Jeff,
you, Game Pass.
Do the dinosaurs move in herds?
They do, actually.
They do move in herds.
They do. There's lots of like, again, my favorite thing to do in it, which won't surprise anyone, is just like, this won't surprise anyone who listens to the podcast, is like to just, you can take manual control of the vehicles. And I didn't play the first game that Derek played, so I'm not sure what the improvements are, but you can like drive a Jeep around and the controls are like surprisingly good. It's like probably on par with the vehicle driving in Watch Dogs, which is not what you expect from like, it's not, it's not as good as like Forza Horizon, but it's better than you'd expect from a park simulation game, where you can fly a helicopter around. So it's just cool to like get down to that ground level. And there's tons of nice little details, like in the car on the console. They've got the little Jurassic Park screen logo that they have in the movies on like like there's so many little touches and stuff. Or I posted a video on Twitter. If you put a bunch of raptors in behind the fence, they will kind of go up to the fence in pairs or threes and start checking it for weaknesses and stuff, which is like a throwback to the movie quote, like that they're checking the fence systematically. Yeah, exactly. So, I don't know if I'd recommend it to people who have no attachment to the franchise, but for anyone who has like any sort of nostalgia for the series, it's, I think any of the flaws in the game will be overwhelmed by just the joy of kind of doing that stuff. You can build your own tour with the tour vehicles going around on the track.
Is there any chaos theory in the game?
There's literally a mode called Chaos Theory.
That's
so there's like
spectacular.
There's like it's kind of so like my only problems with the game, I wanted to dive right into Sandbox because I'm like there's a campaign, it's really short, it was okay, but like basically I just want to make my own park. I want to do whatever I want. I don't want the game to like tell me what to do, but they lock everything in Sandbox. You have to unlock everything basically by doing the other game modes, which is like incentive to do it, but it kind of sucks if you just want to jump in there and you don't have anything available. So there's campaign, which is like just 5 pretty short story missions. One of them took me a few hours, but I think I finished them all in like 6 hours, and they like take place after the latest garbage movie. Spoilers for Fallen Kingdom if anyone cares, which nobody does, but like the dinosaurs are basically roaming in the wild now in the United States after the end of that movie. So this campaign is like, it's not really a park builder. You're kind of in different states. There's California, Oregon, and all that, and you're just kind of like rounding up dinosaurs and doing, it just teaches you a bit of the basics. I wish there was a bit more tutorials. And then Chaos Theory is a different mode, and it has like a set location from each of the movies, so like Jurassic Park 1, 2, 3, and then the new Jurassic World movies. And it's basically like a what if scenario. It's like, do exactly what they were trying to do in this movie, but don't fuck it up. So like, what if you actually just made the park functional? So they recreate it right down to the waterfall from the first movie and the visitor center and all that. You just kind of have to redesign the park in the game. And then all the stuff you unlock, and you kind of like go out for fossil digs and extract DNA for dinosaurs, and then you research that. That's what unlocks the dinosaurs, and you can use all that eventually in the sandbox mode. And that's where like there's lots of pretty good options. It's got like a creative mode where you can turn off all the difficulty if you don't want, because by default like dinosaurs get mad or agitated. They have different traits. So like the T-Rex, I can't find a way to make a T-Rex that isn't like 50% hostile. Sometimes you can modify them to like make them social. Not for the
T-Rex doesn't want to be fed. He wants to hunt.
Yeah. So like they'll break out of their fences and attack the Jeeps and stuff like that. But like in the creative mode, you can turn all that stuff off if you just want to make like a paradise.
I would never turn that off.
No. It's cool. So it's like not a deep game, but I'm really enjoying my time with it. I haven't played a game like this in a while, and it's a nice little distraction. And hey, it looks really pretty and runs really good. So
are there any Dodgson references in the game?
No, there's no Dodgson, no Wayne Knight, unfortunately.
Oh,
surprisingly,
man.
They had Jeff Goldblum and Bryce Dallas Howard reprise their roles, and then they have like a great value Chris Pratt doing
a great value
Grady.
Chris Pratt.
Yeah, I don't
Chris
know.
Pratt is already great value. Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's like really bottom of the barrel stuff, but
It's actually me. I'm the one. I am the great
you know
value.
what? It could be you doing this accent. It's that bad. It could be. So,
They had
anyways,
Owen
let's-
Wilson do it. It's crazy.
Wow.
Recast Owen Wilson as Star-Lord and just don't mention it.
Dinosaur. Wow.
Wow.
Wow. Can you imagine Matthew McConaughey at Jurassic Park?
No.
All right.
I'm
well, you know,
attempting not to.
assuming Owen Wilson finds his way out of the situation he's in Loki right now, why couldn't he be the new Star-Lord?
That's a good point. He is in
He
the
could be
it
the
doesn't
Star-Lord
matter.
in that variant universe for
Yeah,
sure.
sure. Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? I keep forgetting that wasn't Woody Harrelson. I don't know why. Owen Wilson gave big Woody Harrelson vibes in Loki.
No.
Yeah,
No.
he did.
I don't.
He did.
Woody Harrelson vibes?
Yes, he did.
I don't see
it's
that,
okay
dude.
if you don't, but he did.
I'm not.
Jeff, talk to us about
Eric.
the only piece of news that happened this week.
I'm gonna retweet this on Twitter so people know we're talking about Activision.
Yeah, so there was some big news that broke. I have no concept of time this week. It was probably Tuesday.
It's not
The article
that big.
the article I saw it from was the Wall Street Journal. I'm getting a little bit paywalled here, but I've got a bunch of other stories, so don't
It
worry.
was
But basically,
Tuesday morning. Yeah.
Tuesday morning. So the article in Wall Street Journal was Microsoft to buy Activision Blizzard in an all-cash deal valued at
All
all cash valued at $75 billion. An interesting note is that it says after taking into account Activision's assets, it's actually only worth $68 billion. So I'm
only
like,
$68
Yeah,
billion
so, like,
dollars.
I don't know if they're in the red a little bit. I'm not quite sure how the money side of that works. But anyways, before we get into the kind of the different angles we're going to approach this from, this is like huge news, not just for gaming, but for like the entire entertainment industry. So this is by far Microsoft's biggest acquisition ever. I think their next closest was LinkedIn in 2016, which cost $26 billion. And this is more than double that. It's also the biggest
No,
acquisition.
wasn't Bethesda more than that?
No, Bethesda was $7 billion. It wasn't
Really?
even close.
That's all
This
it
is
was?
10 times that.
Huh.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
People have to remember Bethesda was not in a good financial place as of the time of Microsoft buying them. So
Yeah.
Interesting.
So it's not only Microsoft's biggest deal, it's not only gaming industry's biggest deal. It's the biggest tech deal ever made. The previous high, I think, was the Dell EMC merger in 2016. And that was $67 billion. So this is even more than that. And to put it into bigger perspective, if you talk in entertainment as a whole, I mean, the big players are usually like entertainment. So, it's only a couple million behind Disney buying Fox for $71 billion and AT&T buying Time Warner for $85 billion in 2018. So like it is up there with like, we already know that games are like the biggest industry, I think, in the world right now,
In the
even
world,
more so
yeah, it's
than
the biggest,
movies in
yeah.
terms of like the amount of money and revenue that's involved. But this just kind of cements it that they're here to stay. And there's comments from other companies. I think even Netflix was saying like, there's some comments from them earlier today. Like, don't even talk to us about anything other than gaming for the next few years. Like, I think this is just kind of, but like, this is just like, I think even gonna send a wake up call to other companies in general. So yeah, it's big news. And I think, on the podcast tonight, we kind of talked about it before, but we kind of want to break it down into kind of, because there's two angles to approach it from. The one is what happens to Activision Blizzard. We know what's going on there. We know what's happening, with the sexual harassment and the poor working conditions and, the investigations in the U.S. by Department of Justice and state of California. Obviously Bobby Kotick's still there. So there's all that stuff. And, I think a lot of us are trying to be a little optimistic that this might be good for them. But then there's also kind of the business side of it, which is what does this mean for I don't want to use the word gamers. I don't want to use the word consumer. What does it mean for consumers? What does it mean for people that play these games, that are fans of these franchises, that are subscribers to, Xbox Game Pass, and all that side of thing. And we could have some fun with that later on. So, but I think we wanted to start kind of with Activision Blizzard itself. So the deal isn't set to close until June 2023, and it could very well close later than that. Until then, as much as we wish it was different, nothing has changed today. shit still sucks at Activision Blizzard. Employees are still striking. Bobby Kotick is still staying. They have not confirmed if he will stay or leave. Most people are under the impression he's going to depart once this is done. But right now, nothing's different. So we're just, we don't have all the information to kind of figure out which way this is going to go. But there's a lot of, I think, reason to be optimistic and maybe some concerns as well. So I don't know, Derek or John, which one of you guys want to kick off with your just kind of initial thoughts?
Yeah. So, and I think most people have kind of gotten the memo by now, but I know that day one on Tuesday, when this news was breaking, a lot of people's first question was, is Kotick in or out? And the initial news, which I think a couple of outlets unfortunately kind of reported poorly on it, saying that, well, Kotick is confirmed to be staying. But then you dig past the headline into the body, and what's actually going on is, yeah, Kotick's gonna stay as CEO at least through this sale, which no duh. Microsoft can't, even if Microsoft wants to fire him or just not renew his contract, whatever, they can't do that till they own Activision. And they don't own Activision for another year and some change. So I think a lot of people really wanted this headline that, like, the headline I put up, so long, Kotick, and that's not going to happen. Like, businesses are never going to open up a press release and say, eat shit, CEO of other company, you're gone.
Especially not even like when the deal isn't even done.
Yeah,
like,
they're gonna stay as PR friendly as they all the way through and even past this. Even if they fire Bobby Kotick, it doesn't matter how like dramatic that gets behind the scenes. We're only going to see the PR friendly side of that.
They will wish him well in all his future endeavors.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, Kotick was never going to leave before June 2023. So it sucks, but I mean, that's just, Microsoft can't fire the CEO of a company that they don't own.
I'm still not convinced he's going to leave. But that's just the cynical part of me talking.
Here's the other side of this, though, because I think this is the biggest question a lot of people immediately have in like our sphere of gaming, like Twitter, gaming, media, gaming, content creation, so on and so forth, is will Kotick leave when this is all over with? And they've already said that Activision Blizzard's going to report to Phil Spencer. So what does Bobby Kotick do in this new corporate arrangement? There's no room for him. And the only reason he's been kept around for so long is because he makes a shitload of money. But like his importance is... And as Dio points out, there are sources that say he's out as soon as the deal is finalized. But even disregarding that, like logically speaking, there's not a lot of room for Kotick in this new corporate arrangement. And I think chances of him staying are pretty slim. Kotick's not the source of all problems within Activision Blizzard, but we've all been asking for this.
Start.
It is a pretty good start.
On the flip side, you got to consider the fact that Mikey Barra is probably the guy who's going to take over.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Again, the fact that they say Activision Blizzard is going to report to Phil Spencer.
But I mean, they've still got to have a I don't know what you would call it, but
branch manager,
a head of studio who would report to, and like Mikey Barra spent years as an Xbox executive.
Yeah.
And he's not great. Like he sucks. So
he's better than Kotick. But
yeah, I mean that
which doesn't say
that bar is down to the Marianas Trench. But
I mean, like I'm trying to stay on the optimistic side. I think no matter what, I think this is a net positive for the employees of Activision Blizzard.
Yes,
I do not think things are going to get worse under Microsoft, and they may take some time to get better. I guess my concerns are that, like you mentioned, I do think Bobby will be gone because I don't know Bobby. I'm under the impression he doesn't offer a lot of technical expertise. And he's certainly not going to be making decisions at Microsoft, and they're not going to want to keep him on the payroll, and they're not going to want the bad PR. So they just dropped $70 billion on this. They'll pay a little bit more to get rid of him. I'm not worried about that, but I think Microsoft, and I, as someone who works, in the software industry and has a lot of contacts in Microsoft, my impression is generally as a whole, they're a decent company to work for, but obviously with a company that size, there's, some areas are not all perfect, and like any big company, they have their problems. And it was well documented, the problems at Mixer, before they kind of disbanded. That place was a shit show. So I think my concerns are that historically, sorry, I'm not sure what's happening.
Paris is in chat.
Paris is in chat, talking some shit.
Talking some well-deserved
Talking some shit, some fitness
John,
shit that he can't back
do
up.
Do it for the Activision Blizzard employees.
Do what?
Do the push-ups for the Activision Blizzard employees.
How many push-ups am I supposed to do?
I don't know.
Dude, I'm drinking whiskey. I can't do any
We'll
push-ups.
do it later, and we'll post it on Twitter.
Yeah.
We're podcasting right now.
So yeah, no, my only concern is that
Paris doesn't want this.
so far at least it sounds like Microsoft has been pretty hands off with their acquisitions. They basically bring them into the Microsoft house and say, here's your room, let us know if you need anything, but they kind of let them do their own thing, more or less. That's how I understand they've been handling a lot of the smaller acquisitions. Bethesda has largely operated more or less how they did before. But, when it comes to Activision Blizzard, like Bobby Kotick wasn't the one doing the cube crawls.
Yeah.
There's a lot of abusers and harassers still in that company, still protected, still working there. And Microsoft, once they bring them in, they need to commission investigations and really root out the bad stuff. Conduct. I don't want to say conduct because it's too clinical. They need to talk to people and really make sure that they address the concerns of the employees there, because just bringing them in saying, hey, we're all good, as long as you keep those people there, it's not really going to get better without that oversight and that intervention. And that's the key piece, I think, is they need to intervene and they need to fix this. And I think they want to, because they want this new part of their company to succeed. And we know that companies with good employee morale, productivity, and just a positive workplace do better. They're going to make better games and they're going to make you more money. So I hope that they recognize that, and I think they will, but only time will tell, I guess.
So Brittany actually said something in chat that I think is important to address. She said, and Brittany, by the way, you call that a rant. I don't think it was a rant. I think these are all salient points. Legality aside, their first initial statement just glossed over the ongoing drama with Kotick and the company, despite Microsoft themselves making a statement against it. She's not wrong. Like there is a legality, no, I am sure there's a clause in there that says they can't badmouth Kotick, but from a business perspective, they're not even
the problem is, from a legal perspective, now that they're engaged in buying, they may not be able to.
Yeah, that's the
because
problem.
it can be considered stock manipulation.
Yeah.
It fucking sucks, because I think every one of us wants to see some real strong, genuine feeling statements put out about the abhorrent shit going on inside Activision Blizzard and some of the abhorrent shit that Bobby Kotick himself has said and done. And we're not going to get that, and I don't think we're ever going to get that from any of these companies. And I hate that. I think all of us want to see drastic change quickly. And the sad truth is, it's probably one of those things we're going to be watching over the next couple of years to see how things change. And I'm fucking impatient. I don't think people should have to wait for things to get better. And I'm kind of with you there too, Britt, because I was telling both of them earlier, there's a lot of things about this purchase that I'm very positive about, but I do feel weirdly guilty for a lot of aspects. But I think at least in regards to why Microsoft isn't saying anything right now, I think they just can't. Because I think if you're there's still time for this to get tanked if everybody doesn't play nice publicly. But, again, it could be seen as them trying to tank Activision's stock price at this point, now that they're publicly talking about this purchase agreement. So, I mean, legally their hands may be tied, which is stupid. I disagree with that, but I'm not a business person, so
you should be.
You should be, Derek. You've got a sharp, keen mind for business.
No, I don't. I am loud and gay, and that's not that is almost antithetical to succeeding in corporate America. So, but
John, did you have anything else to add?
I have
you kind of wait in a little bit. But
yeah, you should take a shot first.
So,
just kind of before we move on to the business side of things, it's talking about the culture changes and stuff like that.
So I don't expect anything to change overnight. I do know that Phil Spencer's got a good reputation for not tolerating that kind of shit in the workplace, right? But again, like Derek mentioned something earlier, like Bobby Kotick, I mean, so he's been accused of shit himself, right? And of course, he knew about all this stuff and did nothing to stop it,
Yeah.
right? But, and I'm going to use a military analogy here, so I apologize.
Wow, who could have seen that coming?
So when we were in Afghanistan and we used to look at, terrorist networks, our mantra was never to target top tier leadership. You always take out the middleman, right?
Yeah.
Because that way, it cuts off the flow of communication. Leader can't issue orders anymore, and there's mass confusion at the ground level, right? The problem, Kotick was part of the problem, but in my opinion, the bigger problem was mid-level. Like Kotick can be a piece of shit, but if you have good mid-tier leadership, then it's you can guard against a lot of that.
Allowed that rot to spread within the company, within mid-level management, and you can get rid of Kotick, but there's still going to be a lot of lingering shitty dudes in mid-level management positions that need to be pruned out. A lot of people whose names we may never learn, and the best I can hope is that they get pruned out of there without us ever learning their names.
And the way it spreads is the mid-level management, they hire people they like who are also douchebags and toxic and probably misogynistic and all that stuff. And those are the people that are buddy with them, and they're the ones that get promoted while all the other people are kind of laughed out of the meetings or disregarded or not given a chance. And it just kind of becomes self-sustaining at that point, even after you maybe remove Bobby.
Yeah. It's going to take time, and I do have hope that Microsoft is genuinely going to try to clean up things inside Activision Blizzard. I don't see why you purchase Activision Blizzard right now if you don't have intentions to do that, because there's far too many magnifying glasses on that company for you to buy it and then not fix that culture problem, because then the first thing people are going to do is go, Microsoft, why didn't you fix this? Like, there's a big risk there, or not really a risk, because it's only a risk if you don't intend to try, I guess. Like, there's high risk if you don't attempt to clean up, Activision Blizzard, put good leadership in charge, work your way down and through, clear out bad actors as you learn of them. So I have hope, but it's going to take a couple of years probably, because it's going to be over a year before Microsoft's even in charge. And then after that, nothing's going to move fast, because nothing ever moves fast in corporate America.
Yeah.
Try to get a shitty dude fired at work and see how long it takes. It's not even a manager.
If it happens.
It won't happen.
Right.
Yeah.
Turns out HR is there to protect the company, not the employees.
But Jeff, like you said, there is a business side to this discussion as well. And if you wanted, Jeff, if you would be so kind, actually, do you want to kick off that discussion?
Yeah. I mean, maybe I'll get my 2 cents in, because I don't want to overwhelm the show with negativity, but I'm like a little bit.
No, I mean, it's part of the conversation. So
my gut reaction to this was a little negative. It was a little not good. Just from a consumer. So obviously with this acquisition, Microsoft takes over some of the biggest franchises and games, and it kind of. I think, it's even bigger just coming off what they've been doing the last few years. And business is business. I don't blame them. These companies exist to make money, and from that perspective, they're being very smart, and they're going to make a lot of money off this deal. I don't blame them for doing what they did. But they have Call of Duty, they have World of Warcraft, they have Blizzard, they have StarCraft, they have Warcraft. These are some big fucking games, and I don't even play these games. So, it's not like I'm coming at this with I have no investment really in these properties. But so, my concern comes as like, sorry about losing my train of thought, but like basically what they did. So I was a little upset with the Bethesda acquisition a few years ago too, but I kind of came to terms with that. Like these indie developers, I could see with a lot of these, it's good for both parties, right? Like Double Fine, and Obsidian and stuff like that. These are like maybe AA developers or even less. It gives them good security. They're under Microsoft's paybook. They don't have to worry about their jobs. They can just come in day to day, do their thing. Microsoft's pretty hands off. Let them keep making their games, and it's good for Microsoft. Better games diversity, more studios, something they've lacked for a long time. Like it made sense. And even with the Bethesda one, where I was like a little Bethesda and Microsoft have a huge history, especially Bethesda starting on PC, the collaboration on Xbox, bringing games, like Morrowind and stuff like that, and then the history with Doom on Xbox as well. Like that stuff made sense to me. This one, I just don't feel the same way about it. It really does feel more like they saw stocks were down 30% over the last year, and now is the cheapest time as any to come in and just scoop up a bunch of IPs and studios for the Microsoft machine. And that, again, that's fine. That's business. But now they've got a lot of stuff, and I don't know how to feel about it. Like, I'm excited I can play all these games on Game Pass now, and I don't have to pay for them beyond my subscription. But I also don't think the answer is like, what, do we want Microsoft to just own every game so they're all on Game Pass? And that's great for us. Like, that's not good either. Competition is good. Halo and Call of Duty, in some ways, bounce off each other. Like, they iterate off each other. They improve each other. It's good to have that competition. Having Microsoft own almost every Western first-person shooter and Western RPG is like, maybe right now it'll be okay. These teams are really talented. They've got good management. What will it be in 5 or 10 years? I don't know. And that's just where a little bit like, it's not a monopoly. It's not. But like, I'm just a little... I don't really want them to get any more big franchises.
I think we're dangerously close to it becoming one, though, right? Like, so... For example,
in the legal sense, I don't think so. I'm not an expert on it. From what I hear, it's not.
Well,
but...
so I will say so today Phil Spencer tweeted out that he had a conversation with Sony, and he reassured them that all existing contracts would be upheld, and they were committed to keeping Call of Duty on PlayStation platforms because PlayStation is very important. Blah 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 blah. Right? That's a very carefully worded statement that was very similar to the language used when they acquired Bethesda. And of course, we now know that Starfield is going to be an Xbox exclusive game. I guarantee you Elder Scrolls 6 is not coming to PlayStation systems.
We know one Bethesda game.
Hold on. I'm not saying that Call of Duty is going to be an Xbox exclusive game. What I am saying is that you don't pay $70 billion to let the competition continue to propagate on their platform one of the world's biggest gaming franchises that you now own.
Yeah. So I think here's the thing. So Call of Duty in particular, I think Call of Duty is going to be a major focus of any discussion around what happens with Activision Blizzard because it's the only thing Activision does. Every game studio under the Activision side of Activision Blizzard is either working on Call of Duty or a Call of Duty support studio. It's the only thing Activision does at this point. I still think that they have a lot of opportunity releasing Call of Duty multi-plat, but putting it on Game Pass, marketing it with Xbox. Like, there's still a huge win by having COD as part of that like Xbox marketing machine and being able to say, hey, if you got an Xbox, if you're on our Game Pass subscription, you're getting the brand new Call of Duty for free.
Well, it's like not black and white. Like a lot of people are like, is it exclusive or is it not? It's like, it's not, there's different levels, right? Like you said there, like put it on Game Pass. And, to me, at least when I look at this stuff, like I looked at with Bethesda, is like, Microsoft's in this to make money. So that's the goal. And their way to make money, they care about consoles, but Game Pass subscriptions, that's how they've decided they're going to make money these days. So you could put Call of Duty on Game Pass and you can still put it on PlayStation. I think Sony gets 30% of the cut, the sales from Marketplace, and Microsoft's going to get 70%. So the question to Microsoft is, how do you make more money? Keeping it Xbox exclusive or putting it on Sony, selling 10 million copies every single year if it stays annual, and getting 70% of that revenue back to you? I think the PlayStation method probably makes them more money.
The other thing is, and I hate the walled gardens in gaming, and I want to see more holes broken in the walls of those walled gardens rather than reinforcement. But Microsoft is the best of the three platforms when it comes to opening that up. Like, from the very beginning, if Microsoft has something, it's on Xbox and it's on PC. That's two very different and distinct platforms. Nintendo and Sony are not, like, by their very nature, are more locked down than Microsoft is, even if you count only those platforms. But also, Microsoft's putting some of their games that they already own on multiple systems. Minecraft like is not like some weird exception. Microsoft owns Minecraft. It's on a bunch of systems. It's on like everything. Both Ori games are on Switch, right? Like Microsoft is willing to put some games on their competitors' hardware if it seems like the right sort of deal. I don't feel good about this consolidation. Like, I don't feel good about a console manufacturer buying Activision Blizzard, but
So,
like, I don't know.
You said something earlier about Diablo that I do agree with.
Oh, yeah. So look, we all know that anything that's currently was already planned to release on PlayStation is coming out on PlayStation. I think we're all waiting, like you brought up Bethesda. I think we're all waiting to see what happens with some of these new games coming forward. Like, does Fallout 5 come out only on Xbox, or will that be multi-plat? No. And I think some of us are cynical and some of us are more hopeful. I tend to think that some stuff that makes sense will still be multi-plat, or maybe be timed exclusive on Xbox before it and PC before it releases elsewhere. And some stuff is just going to stay exclusive.
Diablo ain't coming to PlayStation.
But I'm telling you this, future Blizzard games are not coming to PlayStation.
Nope.
Blizzard is about to be... Microsoft is going to push Blizzard hard on the PC platform.
And here's the other part to that equation that we talked about, right? In that, at this point, I don't care how many times Square has said it. I don't care how many times Phil Spencer has said it. It's time to accept that Final Fantasy XIV is not coming to Xbox. It's just not. But I guarantee you World of Warcraft is. World of Warcraft will be on Xbox. It'll probably be on Game Pass. And Paris said something in chat, his tiny little biceps aside, we won't talk about that. He is correct when he says that Xbox is in the Game Pass business. Everything is to drive you to be a sub no matter the platform. He is 100% right about that, right? He can't do a single pull-up to save his life, but he is right about that. But as far as World of Warcraft goes, that is going to be Microsoft's competitor, or their answer, I guess.
How much you want to bet that Microsoft uses Call of Duty as leverage for Game Pass on PlayStation?
I don't think you're going to see Game Pass on PlayStation.
When you talk about Call of Duty, and because we're talking World of Warcraft, I was thinking earlier, I was musing about this in the Discord, like, yeah. So I don't know, maybe we already forgot. Microsoft tried to pull a 180 on everyone with Xbox Live a while ago and like jack up the price like crazy, and then backtracked the same day. But we're long overdue for a Game Pass.
Game Pass is going to get more
price
expensive
increase at some point, and probably sometime after this closes when they've got a little bit more leverage there. But this stuff, I think, opens up a whole. There's already been talk, I think, about them like maybe doing something different with Xbox Live, or maybe opening up another tier of Game Pass even. So now you could have like your Game Pass Ultimate, and now what if you have a tier above that with like, maybe Call of Duty's multi-platform, but this high tier gives you Call of Duty battle passes and stuff like that, or World of Warcraft subscriptions included in that premium tier for like $30 a month or something. Like, there's so many different options here for them to explore with it. I'm not going to say if they're good or bad, but I think it's interesting. But it gives them other avenues to still make money off Call of Duty exclusive to them while still getting some base sales elsewhere. Yeah.
Well, Brittany also makes another good point in chat. Like, World of Warcraft on Game Pass would be a game changer because that game has been on the decline for a few years, which is true. I think it was sometime within the past 2 years that Final Fantasy 14 finally
for a long time. So
14 finally overtook it like a year or two ago,
something like that. Shadowbringers is what changed everything,
right?
Yeah.
And Shadowbringers and the like piss poor reaction to the latest WoW expansion,
right?
And of course, the bad press at Blizzard did not help at all. Yeah. But I mean, World of Warcraft was the number one MMO in the world for what, like 20 fucking, like, I don't even know how long the game's been out, but it's been a long time.
Early 2000s, right?
Right. So, 2003, 2004 it launched.
Okay,
2004.
So it was. I think Brittany's right. I think putting World of Warcraft on Game Pass, and that game, Final Fantasy XIV has proven it. You can do a World of Warcraft style MMO on a console, no problem.
Yeah.
They will retrofit that action bar to be operable on an Xbox controller, and it will revitalize that fucking game. Like 110%. She's right.
Microsoft's almost leading the charge now in terms of accessibility. So if anyone's going to make a game controller friendly, adaptive controller friendly, console friendly,
it's Microsoft.
It's going to be Microsoft. Yeah.
So I'll say this too, and again with the caveat that like consolidation's bad, but Blizzard, I'm a huge Blizzard fan. I have been my entire life pretty much. I mean, I grew up on StarCraft and Diablo and Warcraft 2 but Blizzard's been in a bad spot for a long time. And Activision has slowly moved from Call of Duty being the only thing they make as a joke to Call of Duty genuinely being the only thing that their like 8 separate studios work on that are under that banner. And that's a shame because there's a bunch of really good, like, long lost games, fan favorites, like cult favorite IP at Activision and at Blizzard that are left dead in a lot of ways, and that Activision was never going to revive, because what is Activision going to do with Tony Hawk, with Spyro and with Crash?
By the way, can we mention the irony of Microsoft now owning Crash Bandicoot?
That's fucked up.
But even like StarCraft, like Blizzard and Activision basically decided it's done. Like after StarCraft 2, I think it kind of lost the competitive scene, and they just decided we're done with RTS.
They kept it going for too long and didn't do anything else with it, and they lost their footing. And the other thing is Blizzard is inflexible with a lot of their franchises, and Activision is single-minded in their purpose of strip mining as much money as they can out of their IPs that can be abused in such a way. And Microsoft clearly is not have that kind of attitude. So I feel like if you're a fan of any property under Activision or Blizzard, I don't think this is the best possible thing, but it's a whole lot better than the status quo was. If you like Call of Duty's gonna be better for not being an annual franchise. You know, Call of Duty's gonna be better if they just stick to Warzone and like put out a new like game every 3 years or so. If you like Blizzard stuff, you're a whole lot more likely to get a StarCraft 3 or StarCraft spin-offs of some kind, StarCraft Ghost Revival under Microsoft, than you were under Blizzard. Well, Overwatch 2 has been floundering. It's in an awful state right now because of Kotick. And
I love the way you put that, and I think this will lead nicely into our last topic. I think we could just spend some time talking about what we want to see, maybe have some fun, what kind of games we want to see, where we want to see, what franchise we'd like to see get some love first. But I think you put a good spin on it. Like I mentioned before, I don't, especially don't like consolidation. And I have an expensive PC. I have every console. I'm not worried about like what I can or can't play. So like when I talk about consolidation, I'm not worried about Microsoft making stuff exclusive only on Xbox, whatever. Like I can play it, and exclusives are reality. I think, again, it's just, that lack of competition of another company pushing another company in a way that doesn't happen when all those studios are internal. But the fact is, this wasn't happening with Activision Blizzard because they weren't pushing against Microsoft in the RTS space with StarCraft and something like StarCraft, which is dead. All these franchises are either dead or just slowly rotting and not being given the resources.
Relic on a StarCraft 3.
Yeah. But so that's this little back and forth, and innovation and push wasn't happening. So I don't see any reality where, again, these teams and these games and franchises aren't better off with Microsoft than they were, like you said, Derek, in the status quo. So that does leave me optimistic. Like, my boy CJ, I wish you were here, but
talk about some Tony Hawk.
We know Vicarious Visions was folded into Blizzard proper. But maybe that Tony Hawk 3 and 4 remaster isn't dead, right? Like, and what else could there be?
You know what? Bring back the Lost Vikings. I'm just kidding. Don't bring back the Lost Vikings.
So, I don't know, Derek or John, if you guys want to kind of steer this last section, like, what I guess what are the things you'd be excited to see from a new kind of reinvigorated Activision Blizzard under Microsoft, or what do you think?
Let me start while John looks at this list I've got pulled up of notable games Activision published in various decades. But look, I've already said it. I'm a big Blizzard fan, and I think that Blizzard's franchises, especially in the last decade or so, have suffered under Blizzard. Diablo 3 was a huge misstep. Diablo 4 looks like it's headed in the right direction, but only after 3 or 4 major reboots. Overwatch was a really incredible game out the gate, and it kind of fell apart as time went on, and now Overwatch 2 seems to be in truly dire straits. StarCraft is dead. which kills me. And I think that we have an opportunity to see a lot of these franchises revived, course corrected, given spinoffs. There's no reason to me why you should own the franchise of StarCraft and not have made like a StarCraft themed shooter at some point, right? Why have we never gotten like a Diablo like action game?
Or like
right?
Alien vs Predator with like Zerg and
Exactly. Like all of this stuff. Why is it? See, Overwatch 2's entire existence is torn between the fact that it's an online, like, servicey shooter, but people want story content out of these characters and world. And Blizzard's only option was to try to fold all of that into one thing. What if you just didn't? What if you just made your Overwatch service shooter and you made, like, separate games for campaign? Like there's a lot of opportunity for Blizzard's shit to get revived under Microsoft, under different teams, for Microsoft to go, okay, we own StarCraft, we're gonna hire this team to work on this StarCraft spinoff. Bam.
All right, I want some more motherfucking Tenchu.
Yeah,
dude, Tenchu on PlayStation 1 was the shit. Like, we all talk about Metal Gear Solid as being like, tactical espionage action. Tenchu was the first game I ever played that made me feel like a fucking stealth master.
Yeah.
Like, Tenchu was
good shit.
Tenchu and Tenchu 2 were fucking amazing. I would love more Tenchu games. We are clearly going to get more. Well, I don't know. Do we think we're going to get Tony Hawk? And do you think anyone at Activision will mistake Tony Hawk for being Tony Hawk?
Tony Hawk we're getting more of.
I mean, the 1 and 2 remake, I mean, it didn't do Call of Duty numbers. That game did very, very well.
Microsoft sees that. See, what's weird is Activision saw that and went, that's not good enough for us. Microsoft sees that and goes, we can find some little indie team to put together another AA Tony Hawk game that, will be like a solid, good Game Passy kind of title. Tony Hawk's happening. You know what else is probably happening is I'm dollars to donuts. We are going to see Prototype revived.
I forgot about that game.
Yeah, a lot of people
I
did.
always get that mixed up with another game
era.
that came out around the same.
Prototype and what's this? The Infamous are always kind of like.
I think that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Prototype games were not great.
They're fine. They're fine. But like they were better than the Spider-Man games that were releasing around that time.
That is a very low bar.
The thing is, like, this is an era where, like, I think Spider-Man in particular has really driven people's hunger for superhero content. The MCU's never stopped being huge, and I think that they might do something with Prototype.
I really would love some Guitar Hero.
Guitar Hero seems like a good fit for Game Pass, right?
Especially, like, I feel it's time. Like, when was the last Guitar Hero game? When did that come out?
It was
long
PS4
time ago.
and Xbox One era. It was the one that had the wholly different.
And it wasn't received well, right?
Am I crazy? Did someone buy Harmonix, or are they still kind of running independently?
Harmonix is still kind of their own thing, yeah. And Rock Band's still going slowly,
yeah.
So,
what else do we have here?
Guitar Hero Live. Thank you, Delaby.
So a lot of these, so Sekiro is on there, but of course that was only published by Activision, was not developed by them.
Can I have a quick intervention?
No, please.
Just because I'm never gonna get a chance to talk about Guitar Hero Live on this podcast again.
Talk about it. Let's go. We've got the time, buddy.
Brandon, who used to be on the show, Brandon is the only one who would get this, but we both had Guitar Hero Live. And I actually fucking love that game. And I used to play it off and on. And when I went to PS5, I went all digital. I traded in my PS4, got rid of all my games. And I was like, whatever, the stuff I don't own digitally, I'll rebuy for $5 on the PSN. Guitar Hero Live does not have a digital option, despite being released relatively recently. I think like 2016 or something like that.
Really dumb. Was it delisted or?
It was apparently never listed digitally. It always only had a physical. I think it's because they didn't want people to buy it and not have the guitar accessory that was required to play it.
That makes sense.
Which is weird because you can get Disney Infinity digitally, but I think you can play that without the dock and like the little figures and stuff like that. So, but yeah, that sucks. So it's just like it's straight up dead now. So that's a crime against humanity is what that is. But anyways, carry on. I just had to say my little words of sorrow.
Yeah. You know that what's
Oh,
funny?
Shattered Dimensions, dude, that game fucking ruled.
Yeah. What's funny is Microsoft owns Geometry Wars again now. So
wait, hold on. GoldenEye 007, that was the weird one where you played as an actual villain named GoldenEye, right?
no.
Because there was an actual GoldenEye
No.
game. There was a GoldenEye game where they retconned the whole thing, and
Wasn't that
GoldenEye
just
was
the
actually
Daniel Craig one?
Yeah, this is the
Are
one where
we-
they inserted Daniel Craig into GoldenEye.
Well, was he the bad guy?
No, he was like the
No.
bat.
What's
No,
talking
no,
about?
no.
He was just James Bond.
No, look up GoldenEye right now.
There's
Golden-
only there's
they-
the original GoldenEye and then the Wii one with Daniel Craig. Is
They
there another
did
GoldenEye?
they did a GoldenEye game
Would he play as
where
Sean
you,
Bean?
where you actually play as a James Bond villain named GoldenEye.
No.
I don't think this is it, but
well,
they absolutely did.
This
John
sounds
is-
like a drug-induced fever, John. I don't know
John's,
Oh, really? Okay, I'm gonna look it up right
John
now.
is old. It's okay.
I'm gonna look it up right now.
It's okay.
No, it's fine. No. You're right. It's gonna be okay as soon as
It
I.
is gonna be
prove you
okay,
wrong.
John.
It took me a minute to be like, was the villain's name actually GoldenEye? But it wasn't.
No. It was the satellite or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, GoldenEye Rogue Agent. That was the name of the game.
Oh, that was like a GameCube game or something. Yeah. No, that was awful.
Okay.
We don't talk about
GoldenEye Rogue Agent.
that. It doesn't matter, John.
No, it does matter. The player takes the role of an ex-MI6 agent who's recruited by Art Goldfinger to assassinate his rival, Dr. No. And your character has like a golden eye. Like, so there, both of you are wrong. All right, Fever Dream.
No, but it wasn't
Fever
the one where you're
Dream.
Daniel Craig. So anyway,
Winning.
Sure you
Continuous
are.
winning.
I have a wild one here. Okay, this is I don't know if I've never met another person who played either of these games, but they're formative to my time on the PlayStation 1. Vigilante 8. If Sony wants to bring back Twisted Metal, Microsoft's got to answer the call with Vigilante 8. I'm just saying, y'all. I'm just saying. Give me my funky, fresh, disco-infused 60s, 70s fucking vehicular combat game. I want Vigilante 8 back.
So I don't know how much Blizzard stuff John plays, but Derek, I want to get your take on this because I like I said, I don't play a ton of Blizzard stuff. Even back in the day, I played StarCraft and StarCraft 2, but I was always felt a little too dumb for those games. I didn't get on the Diablo train. I played Diablo 3 on my PS3 or PS4 or whatever. But the one game I think I was really attached to was Warcraft and specifically Warcraft 3. I don't play a lot of RTS games, and that was like and I didn't really play World of Warcraft that much because aside from Final Fantasy 14, I've just never given a shit about MMOs. But I love Warcraft 3, and I always have been waiting for a proper Warcraft 4, and it just seemed like we never get it. So I guess, my two things, I'm like, obviously Microsoft's still doing Age of Empires. Is there a chance we could maybe get a proper Warcraft 4? I don't think they would do that and StarCraft. I think they would make a call.
That's the big thing is I think you're stuck looking at we're not going to have Age of Empires and StarCraft and Warcraft.
I don't think you're gonna get a new
Not that
Warcraft
many
or
RTS
StarCraft.
fans.
I think it's possible.
think
Though.
you
What
get
about this?
one.
What if they did like a World of Warcraft 2?
That's not
Well,
Well,
gonna
so that's
happen.
the next thing I was going to go is World of Warcraft is 17 years old. MMOs are still big. 14's doing good. Like, there's
I mean,
a lot
they
of
rebooted 14.
that brand is huge. The World of Warcraft brand.
I don't
Microsoft's
even know
got
how
the
you
money.
do something like that at this point. I just can't even envision that.
Yeah,
But
I mean, it would be years away.
I think that the smarter move, Warcraft is fucking huge, right? Like, and I think that all four of Blizzard's like big franchises at this point, Warcraft, StarCraft, Diablo, Overwatch. I recognize StarCraft is technically kind of dead right now, but within Blizzard's history, StarCraft is huge.
But I mean, the online scene for that game is still pretty big, right?
Not really.
No?
but
It was for a while, but
was
it's
for a
really
while,
faded. Yeah.
But I've seen a lot of people who were like, StarCraft's not relevant. It's like,
It could be.
It could be again very easily. I think all four of those franchises are so ripe for exploring other genres. Like, people are talking about Riot spinning League of Legends off in a bunch of different directions. And the thing is that Blizzard owns 4 separate League of Legends like tier franchises that would actually be significantly easier than League of Legends to spin off in such a way, just because they're more cohesive stories and series. So I think that a big part of the future of Blizzard is probably less like StarCraft 3 and Warcraft 4. And I think it's probably more like a Warcraft character action game, a StarCraft shooter, stuff like that. I think you're going to see variation. You'll just see those franchises be used in different ways because Microsoft's less afraid to do that than Blizzard is. So,
well, and I mean, that's really cool. That's kind of what I know Halo Wars exists, but like, I'm not big on, like, I've played Gears of War and I played Halo, but like both those franchises, I'm like, okay, we got so many games now, like, especially for Gears of War, I'm like, it'd be cool to see them like kind of do something with this universe that isn't like this heavy cover shooter, but like maybe be in a nice trade. Like maybe someone else can do something with that Gears of War property. Maybe like, how about the Coalition doing like a StarCraft shooter? Like,
well, and I think with the Blizzard franchises too, you're in a situation where they kind of need it. Like Gears, you could make a Gears 6 later and just make it Gears, but you're gonna have a hard time making StarCraft 3 anytime soon.
Yeah,
especially like you brought up, we're not getting StarCraft 3 and Warcraft 4.
No.
So one of those two franchises, if they want to keep it alive, we're going to need something fresh out of. Diablo's probably fine to keep going as Diablo, but, and Overwatch is like, they've got this potentially huge IP that Blizzard fumbled so bad. They had the biggest new game like in the world, and then did nothing with it.
Nothing.
On the topic of Overwatch, I don't know where this game is at. Doesn't sound like it's coming out in a couple months.
Overwatch 2, from what I have heard, is it has continually been sabotaged, basically.
Sabotage? What do you mean by that?
Sabotaged, as in, like, the team keeps having to work on Overwatch 1 shit instead of working on Overwatch 2. So the game has just been put back again and again and again.
So, I mean, good chance it's not out before Microsoft takes over. What are the odds that Microsoft closes the acquisition before this comes out? And I wonder if they kind of pump the brakes and I doubt they'd reboot it from scratch, but do you think there's a chance that they maybe change the approach or the direction to this?
I think Overwatch 2 and Diablo 4 are probably both too close to finished by the time this acquisition comes. I think Overwatch 2 might be coming out around that time.
Okay.
Do we, really though, like, we haven't heard anything about this game in God knows how long, and the stuff we have heard.
That's how Blizzard stuff works.
Like,
I mean,
but
what's the
hasn't been
situation
great, right?
with the first game? The first game gets all the new maps. Like, I can't remember what. Sorry. Okay, Derek's soul is leaving his body.
It's gone both ways. The original promise was that Overwatch 1 would continue to get the new characters of Overwatch 2, and that it would basically be cross-play, but if you wanted the new gameplay modes and maps and so on, you'd need to get Overwatch 2. The problem is that since Overwatch 2 has changed dramatically, it's 5v5 instead of 6v6, so you can't just cross-play anymore. They are going to be different games. So there was talk, I think, about like people who own Overwatch 1 getting Overwatch 2 multiplayer for free, but having to pay for the actual like story and PvE content. But like, it's confusing. The messaging's confusing. Blizzard doesn't know what they're going to do with this. I think it comes out as Overwatch 2. Microsoft tries to get people on Overwatch 2, tries to rebuild it as a service game. I think Diablo 4 is in a less complicated position. Yeah. So I can actually see the focus on Diablo as a service game maybe lessening even under Microsoft. But there's room for them to course correct long term. But I think those games are coming out as Blizzard and Activision plan them pretty much. Maybe Microsoft will push us to get like an Overwatch animated series, right? Like Microsoft wants to do that kind of shit. And, once again, all of Blizzard's franchises are far too ripe for any kind of multimedia for them to have been put in a box for so long.
I do wonder what is in the pipeline that we don't know about right now that's just going to get outright canceled.
Nothing on the Activision side. Probably one Call of Duty game. Do you think we even get a Call of Duty this year? Because Vanguard barely released, and nobody talks about that.
Have one in the pipes, and I think it's probably too far. I think it does come out this year. But that's a good question.
I mean, those games are usually worked on like before the
They're working
the
on for
first Call
3
of Duty.
years, right? So this year's Call of Duty is already 2 years in. But
yeah, but they already like were robbing from Peter to pay Paul to get Vanguard out the door.
Yeah.
Like they had all hands on deck just to get Vanguard out, and the problem is now that whatever they're working on now is way behind schedule.
well, and then the pandemic obviously isn't over. So
Yeah, I wonder if we maybe don't get COD this year. If this year's Call of Duty just gets pushed into next year, and then maybe the game planned after that simply doesn't.
my gut tells me we'll get something, even if it's like a multiplayer only or a different type. I feel like there's going to be something.
I'll tell you what, I think it comes out, but this is the year where if you told me it's not going to, I would not be shocked.
Yeah.
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 I think there's a very good chance. So you do think, because I saw some people suggest this as well, do you think Microsoft is going to back away? I think it seems certain that they're going to back away from the yearly strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've
I
got
think
too
so.
many shooters to want an annual Call of Duty.
Well, they also don't want anything to compete with Halo.
Well, but you're gonna think they're gonna release games that compete with Halo. There's no way around that. I think it's more a matter of
They own all the
Microsoft-
Western first-person shooters in the market. Like
Microsoft knows though not to drive something into the ground, with the exception of Forza, which seems immune to that. So
yeah.
Can I ask you guys a question?
yeah.
I think one thing that's kind of getting not lost in the shuffle, but talked about a bit less is the reaction to this from Sony and Nintendo. And I've been thinking about this for some time.
Nintendo's unaffected.
Nintendo's not going to do anything.
Nintendo doesn't give a shit.
Nintendo looked at this and was like,
Nintendo
okay.
owns the nation of Japan
Yeah,
right now.
like Nintendo does not care. They do not give a shit. Call of Duty games, Activision games don't come out on the Switch anyway. They don't care. Sony, on the other hand, like, look, there's been a lot of hyperbole about how Nintendo and Sony are done. No, come on.
There's a higher chance of new Call of Duty
like-
games releasing on the Switch
like-
under Microsoft than under Activision.
Like, come on, guys. At the same time, Sony does have a bit of a problem now. And people have been wondering how I said a bit of a problem.
yeah.
People have been wondering how they answer, and they have suggested, well, they start buying up developers themselves, which, look, Sony does not have the money to go chasing
Sony
developers
as
the
a
way
tech company is not a very rich tech company.
Nintendo, it could be bought. Well, Nintendo's, I think, like market value is $80 billion. Microsoft could have bought Nintendo if they were for sale.
having said that, if I was Sony, I would probably be looking. And I think the clear answer is something like Square Enix.
No,
don't-
I'm with
They don't need
Tornado.
to- Sorry, Derek, go ahead.
I was gonna say I'm with Tornado. I think Sony is gonna stick with buying little individual studios here and there.
Yeah, probably.
Here's the thing, and here's where I think everybody is looking at Microsoft bought Activision. This is huge. It's $70 billion company. And you're looking at it in terms of money. And the thing is, Activision Blizzard as a studio is not actually worth much for their output right now. Because again, they put out a middling Call of Duty game every year that sells on franchise like momentum alone, pretty much at this point. And Blizzard is just caught in the barrel right now. So you've got a decent amount of manpower that Microsoft just acquired and a lot of IPs, but none of it's being utilized very well. And when Microsoft sorts through that all, they'll have more to work with. But Microsoft was starting 5-6 years ago from a very different position where they didn't own a lot. Remember those jokes about Microsoft's like icons of gaming, and it's like Master Chief,
and the
Marcus Phoenix, and the Forza car. Right. Like,
Oh.
and now they've bought all these studios and franchises and own all this stuff, but Sony already owns a shitload of franchises over the years,
Yep.
a shitload of studios.
Well, and somebody had mentioned the possibility of Sony buying Square Enix. Like,
No.
I don't think
No.
they will. If they were going to buy a big developer /
None
publisher,
of the big Japanese companies are selling.
well, but like the point is like they don't like Square Enix games. Like Final Fantasy 16 is not coming to Xbox.
Well, that's the other thing.
Like-
Sony already has pretend exclusivity with Square Enix anyway on
Yeah.
a lot of their biggest releases.
So-
like Street Fighter 6 is going to be
A PlayStation
and
exclusive.
PC exclusive. It's
Final
not gonna
Fantasy,
be on Xbox.
like
Well-
basically anything associated with the Final Fantasy brand, just about.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I don't think that's necessary.
So like no, like I was gonna say what John said. Like they don't need to. I mean, the thing is, again, it's all about money, right? And I'm sure Sony needs to be forward thinking, and they're looking at all their possibilities. I think if games like Call of Duty and Blizzard don't come out on PlayStation, especially Call of Duty, if they lose something like that on PlayStation, that's probably an issue, and they need some kind of answer for that because they don't have a lot of first-person shooters. You know, they don't have anything in their first-party studios really on the go right now. But the big thing is, what is, you know, Microsoft's all about Game Pass. Right now, Sony is mostly just still focused on game unit sales, their console sales. Like their services matter, obviously, right? They want to stay on PS Plus and all that. But they, you know, and they have PS Now, but it's not at that level of Game Pass. But really, they're selling every PlayStation 5 they can make. Their first-party games are firing on all cylinders. They're all selling 5 million plus. They have huge franchises. They've got all these Marvel contracts for Marvel games. That new Wolverine game, Spider-Man 2 coming. They've just bought Insomniac. Like
they
really
have console exclusivity on the largest MMO in the world. Like,
but the reality is their focus should be on making consoles because they can't. They're losing game sales. They're losing game sales, and Microsoft too. Because they can't make enough consoles to get into people's homes so they can buy and play these games. And I don't think they need to worry about buying studios right now.
Sony's selling 5-year-old games on PC for $60,
and they're selling
$60 and raking in cash.
Yeah, they're selling too. That's the crazy part.
Microsoft gained a lot in terms of the assets that they purchased for $70 billion.
See,
but what did Sony really lose by Activision going off the market? The only thing worth a damn to Sony is Call of Duty. And dollars to donuts, man, well, Call of Duty's still going to be multiplayer.
Like, not that this would answer, not that this would be like a return volley for, like, you know, theoretically losing Call of Duty. Yeah. But Mr. Delby in chat mentioned Resistance and SOCOM.
And
like,
Killzone. Sony's got shooter franchises to work with if they put teams on it.
They can keep Killzone, but Resistance and SOCOM, I'll happily take more of those.
Yeah. So that's the thing. I don't think Sony's in that much trouble. They have a deep well of properties to work with. They have an answer to damn near everything in Microsoft's stable. And they have, you know, they might need to partner a little more. Like, I think Nintendo is very smart, and Nintendo has farmed a lot of their properties out to third-party partners. They've had Bandai Namco and Sega and Capcom and Tecmo Koei working with Nintendo franchises for a while now, especially Bamco.
Yep.
And it's done Nintendo a lot of good, and maybe Sony should do the same thing. Like,
and I think a lot of people are still stuck in the past and forgetting that, you know, things are changing a lot. And like I said, it's not black and white. You know, because we have stuff like Ori on Switch. Sony put MLB The Show on Xbox. That's a PlayStation Studios logo on Xbox. Call of Duty, to some degree, will be on PlayStation. And I think the future isn't selling boxes and these exclusivity wars. The future is these services, whether you like it or not. Yeah. And it's whatever Sony is going to do. Is it Spartacus is kind of this rumored?
We had talked about that earlier. Yeah.
So
kind of an answer to... You know, not really an answer to answer to Game Pass.
Maybe
if there's a question of studios and IPs and franchises and acquisitions, it's not. It's really how do they strengthen their subscription services and how do they make those appealing? And I don't think they need to acquire studios to do that. I think they've got plenty to work with between their third-party partners like Square Enix and their first-party studios.
Just a shitload of baseballs coming at you, knocking home runs with like huge giant swings. 100 baseballs at once.
I missed that make everything Musu.
There's just like an army of. You're one lone batter and there's like an army of 200 pitchers rushing at you, just hurling baseballs. No, but like the interesting and like
do not pursue Johnny Bench.
God damn you. The interesting and I have to admit kind of frustrating thing about this whole thing is that it's not that we're not going to know until next June. We're not going to know till a year after that.
Yeah.
Like getting answers for this shit is years away.
America moves slow, y'all.
Years away. Like, and like you said, that's assuming that the deal even goes through in June 2023.
It could not. This is a really big deal. It could attract the attention of the SEC. They could.
Well, the rumor is that you know regulators are already looking at this with a very very narrowed eye.
I watched Fanbyte talk about so it was John Warren, it was Imran, and it was Nikki were talking about this. And they made a good point that, you know what, US regulators may just be super excited that Microsoft is buying this out and it's all going to an American company, as opposed to, doesn't Tencent own like a decent share of Activision Blizzard? Like, from an American standpoint, there may be this jingoistic attitude of, well, China owns less of this now. It's all internal. Rubber stamp it. You know, that's honestly the primary concern for a lot of corporations right now, is this weird America versus China power struggle. So, you know, it's stupid, but it's a fucking factor.
Yeah, there's one thing I keep coming back to.
Yeah.
About this. And it's months ago. Let's not forget this. Months ago, Phil Spencer said, we are going to change the way we do business.
Or we're reevaluating our business.
With the way we do business with Activision Blizzard. And then they bought the company.
It just, the first thing I thought of was in...
what a power move!
The first thing I thought of was in Batman Begins when Christian Bale walks back into the hotel and he said, I bought the hotel and I'm setting some new rules about the pool area.
The pool area. Or even better, like I imagine Phil Spencer talking to Bobby Kotick, and like that boardroom scene at the end where freaking Rutger Hauer walks in and Lucius Fox is there and he's like, didn't I fire you? You did. I got a new job. Yours. And then he calls Bruce Wayne, and Bruce Wayne is like, yeah, I bought all the shares. The point is, my company's future is secure.
Yeah. I think Phil Spencer just watched Moneyball and was like, I hate that motherfucker. We gotta ruin that man's career.
Do not forget the fact that, of course, this deal has probably been in the works for some time.
Yeah, didn't just get.
Do you believe Bobby Kotick? I think he mentioned something like Phil or Microsoft approached him a year ago. And I suspect they were just watching the stocks and
Microsoft was
waiting for the thing to drop low and buy now.
Microsoft was looking to buy EA sometime back, remember?
Yeah. So don't forget there was another piece of Kotick news, by the way, that dropped in the middle of this whole thing.
And did his dick fall off?
What's that?
Did his dick fall off?
No, that happened years
ago. Well,
then
I'm not interested.
Oh, but you should be. Because it came out that he attempted to buy Kotaku and PC Gamer to formulate a better narrative about Activision Blizzard.
You know what? I'm not always thrilled with what's going on at Kotaku right now, but it's a much better situation than being an Activision Blizzard, what's the word I'm looking for? Propaganda outlet.
My man literally wanted propaganda.
That'd be dark. That'd be dark shit. So
unbelievable.
Yeah. Anyway,
I take that back. It's totally believable.
Yeah, absolutely. Bobby Kotick, please do not. Simply do not.
I was ready to be like, Derek.
No, simply do not.
I know what you want to say.
No, I don't know what I want to say.
I don't know what I want to say.
Simply do not. I don't think he's going to be our problem for long. Look, like I said, this consolidation bad, but in the end, I think we're all hung up on money numbers and the size of Activision Blizzard. This is a deeply, deeply fucked up company that is basically a harassment machine that occasionally produces a mediocre game.
Well, and let's and then of course from the business side of it, you also have to remember that we are talking about probably the most seismic sea change in gaming in the past 2 decades.
It's weird because why? Other than Call of Duty, what?
Because it's the sheer size. It's because not just their
Call of Duty is the game that
it's big from a stock market perspective,
but it's not just about game development. It's about publishing rights as well.
If you look at your gaming audience, there's the niche, the hardcore people like us that go on podcasts and stuff like that. A good chunk, I would wager, maybe up to a quarter or a third, that buy 2 games a year, and Microsoft now owns one of the
Yeah, no, Call of Duty's huge, but
but
Call of Duty's also kind of dying on its own. So
it's not like StarCraft is a big get right now because it's dead, and outside of Yeah.
It's a lot of dead franchises and a mostly dead company shambling along, putting everything it has into keeping WoW running and producing a Call of Duty every year. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I think it's we're all so fixated on numbers, and if you look at what Activision Blizzard really is, that's a house of cards, man. That was not gonna last much longer, and if it's gonna go to anybody, like Microsoft is. Look, I'm a Nintendo. I used to work for Nintendo, but like Activision's in better hands at Microsoft than they would have been at Nintendo or under Ubisoft or under Sony.
Look at, I love Nintendo and they make great games, but they're not infallible like what's happening with Metroid Prime 4.
Yeah.
My one fear about this whole situation, because on the side of net positives, like, yeah, I think this will ultimately improve the lives of employees at Blizzard.
I hope so. It's going to fucking squash that chance at unionizing, though. But I don't know how that looked in the first place.
My other concern is there's a year, a little under a year and a half before this deal ostensibly is supposed to be closed.
Yeah.
How much fucking mid-level retaliation against employees are you going to see before that deal closes? Because
I don't know, because I think if I'm a shitty mid-level manager,
I'm getting out.
Yeah, well, if I make any noise, I'm fucked as soon as this deal goes through.
I mean, maybe.
I don't want my head. I want to keep my head low.
The thing is, there are some vindictive people in this world who don't give a shit about that. Like, they'll burn their entire life to the ground if they think they can catch somebody they hate in the flames.
Yeah,
and that's the thing that worries me, to be honest.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, there's nothing any of us can do about it, unfortunately.
It just makes me sad to think about.
It's fucked up, but fucking Cosby Suite. Like,
only other thing I have to say, I guess, just circling back one more time to what you guys are talking about with the culture there is, I think when the deal closes and assuming Bobby leaves, there will be a lot of kind of people throwing up the mission accomplished banner. And the important thing is that alone, we're trying to be optimistic, but that doesn't guarantee change. And I think and we might never know. Like you said, we'll never know these people's names. I think the best way to measure the change in success is to listen to the employees and kind of, just keep signal boosting them and listening to those stories, listening to the victims. And they're the only ones who are going to be able to tell you, are things getting better? Have things changed? Are they being heard? Are they being listened to? Not PR statements from Microsoft. Not high or even mid-level managers being removed or outed. Like, it's when we hear from those people working on the games at all the levels that, like, hey, my job's a lot better than it was 2 years ago. That's kind of when we've seen a win, I think.
Well, we'll have to keep an eye on things for a couple of years to see how this stuff unfolds.
I think so, yeah.
But it's, it's hopefully positive momentum. It's probably a better chance than we were getting otherwise.
I think at this point in 2024, it will be an interesting podcast to revisit.
Yeah, probably. Probably.
Because I think by that point we're gonna have answers to some of these questions. And you know what? At the end of the day, I think it's gonna be a combination of good and bad.
Yeah.
I think more good than bad. I really do.
So.
I'm with Derek on this one. I think there's going to be some game franchises that deserve better. Phil comes out on stage wearing a Battletoads shirt, and then I don't know if that new Battletoads game was any good, but like,
nope, it was terrible.
Somebody tried.
He tried. He cared about Battletoads. I never even heard of Battletoads. Like,
if I worked at like Raven Software right now, I'd be like, holy shit, we might get to make something that's not, playing backup for Call of Duty.
It's finally happening, guys.
Yeah. We can make Battletoads. I don't know shit. But yeah, we'll see. So I think we've kind of hit as far as we can get into this.
I think so too. Yeah. And besides, we're bumping it. We're getting close to time.
We're repeating ourselves, we're rambling.
But I like rambling. I like rambling with you guys.
I know.
It's been a good show.
Raven can make Singularity too. I love this idea.
I never played the first one, but I heard it was very good.
That's solid. Yeah.
Before we go, then, I think we kind of all touched on it. Why don't we all just pick one game or franchise that we'd love to see get some, like, what do you want to be the first thing out of the gate after this more than anything else?
Look, if this is hard, but no, it's not. StarCraft Ghost. Reboot StarCraft Ghost. Start it over. Give it to Raven or somebody. StarCraft Ghost.
That, I'll always remember that game. because that was I wasn't
fucking
big into
time.
gaming. I wasn't big into gaming. Like I played games when I was young, but I didn't really get it. Like I wasn't even like on message boards and like social media and stuff till a few years ago, right around the time I joined this podcast. But StarCraft Ghost was the very first game I followed, like kind of like from announcement through until it was canceled. And being a big StarCraft fan at the time, playing one with my friends, the change of perspective and seeing it, and like that was such a devastating blow. And I'll always remember that game as like the first kind of that's the first when I started visiting GameSpot and the like media sites. So what's that face?
Get Rare to make Spyro? I kind of love this idea.
Kind of hate that.
I bet you would.
John.
I'm gonna go with Tenchu, even though I know it's never gonna happen. The Tenchu 1 and 2.
What kind of games are those? I don't know if I played them.
So Tenchu is this, Tenchu you play as a ninja named Rikimaru in feudal Japan.
It's stealth and assassination stuff.
Yeah, and it's when I say like a ninja game based on stealth, that I very much
There's
like.
no good direct combat.
So it's not Ninja Gaiden.
No.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Like not at all. This is like imagine if Metal Gear Solid. Imagine if Solid Snake was a ninja in feudal Japan.
Okay.
There is like you go rush into combat. You're gonna die real quick. This game is about being quiet. It's about being stealthy. And it was a PlayStation 1 game. Definitely not like Ghost of Tsushima. Definitely no. And it was one of the true stealth masterpieces.
It might as well have been like if you get spotted, it's game over.
Yeah.
Like
and it made you feel like a badass. Brittany, yes, we are talking about Tenchu. It was fucking hard. It was very fucking hard, but it was also very good.
It's fucking hard just talking about it.
Absolutely.
Well,
I mean, I can't even describe
your
it.
description, I don't know if Microsoft has a ton of that kind of game in their stable right now.
Tenchu's not going to come back, but
That'd be, I don't know, man, great AA Game Pass kind of drop.
you know what? I'll be happy with a fucking port or a remaster.
I could see a lot of these old games getting remastered and re-released.
Well, I mean, Microsoft said they ran out of games for backwards compatibility, basically due to licensing issues. Like they said, we've exhausted everything we can do with the people who want to work with us. Now they just got a whole bunch of old games kind of, I assume, dumped into their lap.
Yeah.
Whether it's on the backwards compatibility program or via
I'm about
like
to
package
play
remasters.
Vigilante 8 Second Offense on Game Pass in 1440p. Let's go.
Okay, I was going to say NBA Jam, but that was Acclaim, not Activision.
And yeah, I guess
check on
my won't surprise
Re-release
anyone.
Blur. Good call.
My game would have to be Tony Hawk, of course.
Yeah, I think you're good in that, man.
I hope so.
I do.
It's it doesn't even need to be a new game. Like I'm a nostalgia guy. Like I'm fine to relive the glory days. Just give me that 3 and 4 remake remaster like we had for 1 and 2, and I will be happy forever. That's
Tony
the one
Hawk's
thing.
Underground 3. Let's go.
But
Starring Eric Andre. I don't know.
yeah, I'll be interested to see what they do with some of those studios. Like I know Vicarious Visions was kind of. It sounds like they're merged in and aren't a distinct unit anymore. But I hope Toys for Bob can be saved at least, and just given some space. But
Yeah, something will happen.
yeah, wow.
Well, that was a solid podcast. We got, in a way, thank you, Microsoft, for purchasing Activision Blizzard, because otherwise, I don't know if we would have had enough for a show this week. Other than that, it was actually a quiet fucking week.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we just filled an entire podcast with one news topic.
To be fair, it's going to be the biggest story of
The year.
if not maybe one of the biggest stories of the 2020s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. Look at this.
Hey, look at this loser. How sad must you be? How sad must you be to make an account to deal with that shit? Anyway,
Oh my God. That's fucking amazing. Oh, I love it. That was awesome.
One of the rare times that actually happens. And you know what? He existed for a solid 15 seconds max. He spent more time making that account than he did posting messages. I'm going to find that dude and fuck his dad. Anyway, folks. John is laughing too hard to say anything. So, folks, thank you all for joining us tonight.
Thank you for joining us.
We've had a good night. John and I are going to get up. John's going to snuggle my dogs tonight. And just remember, kindness costs nothing. So don't make bullshit accounts and harass people on Twitch. Good night, y'all.